So a couple of days ago, we got RWBY Before the Dawn, a new book following the adventures of Team Coffee and Team Sun in Vacuo, and a couple of the events of that novel have some serious implications for the future of the RWBY series. So, for those who haven't read Before the Dawn just yet, spoiler warning, as I will be going over a couple of the key events in that story that would spoil the overall storyline. Now, in the overall book, the villains of it, Jax and Jill, control multiple people and form their own army using Jax's semblance of mind control. And one of the people that they are able to put under their influence for multiple weeks is Xanthe Rumpole, one of the professors at Shade Academy, and the right hand to Theodore. Now, throughout the novel, Theodore had been hinting that there is a much bigger fight going to happen than the one that happens in Before the Dawn. He was obviously talking about Salem and her influence, and because the other two academies have already been attacked, well, Shade Academy is definitely on the agenda. It's going to be attacked eventually. That's the fight that they need to prepare for. Rumpole, being his right hand, the same that Glinda Goodwitch was for Ozpin, I am almost certain is in on the truth of the world, knowing about Salem, the relics, the maidens, etc. So the fact that she was controlled for multiple weeks by these two other characters, granted Jax and Jill have no connection to Salem or anyone else, but now they are very much likely in the know about Salem, about the relics, about the maidens, etc. And I'm wondering how much of their organization, the Crown that they put together, is knowledgeable about this as well. Because the orders that we see Jax give to people when he puts them under his control is to pretty much be loyal to the crown and the kingdom, loyal to their king being Jax and their queen being Jill. Like, he just wants them to be absolutely loyal to him and also to die for them if necessary. Giving that order to Rumpole and making her absolutely loyal to Jax, I would think that she would give them information about any threats to their kingdom that she might perceive. And one of the major threats to that kingdom would be Salem, her influence, the Grimm in general. So I find it very hard to believe that Rumpole did not tell Jax and Jill about Salem. And with that being the case, even though Jax and Jill are likely imprisoned at the end of Before the Dawn, unless of course Jax's memory was completely wiped permanently by Yatsuhashi, which if Yatsuhashi has that capability, that's really broken for his semblance and just makes all of his fears that he has about his semblance a complete reality. But still, Jax might be out of the equation when it comes to that, but Jill, if she's in the know about Salem and has some anger towards, I don't know, Yatsuhashi for making her brother a potato, even though she loves her brother, etc., she was never under his mind control and did all this willingly, so Jill might harbor some anger, might hate Theodore, might hate Rumpole, might hate the organization of Shade Academy as a whole, considering that she thought she was an heir to the throne of Vacuo as well. Like, I would not be surprised if she found some way to escape, because she already has a really high amount of aura herself and her semblance aura siphon. If she was able to get hold of any of the guards that, you know, was for her prison cell if she is imprisoned and maybe not in a special prison or someone gets careless, etc., she could eventually get enough power to break out on her own and seek out Salem. And Salem would definitely want Gillian on her side because her semblance is insanely strong, and I would not be surprised if Salem does eventually get Gillian on her side. Now, as I said, Gillian, Jax, not currently on Salem's side. There was no connection implied to Salem in this novel other than Theodore just mentioning it here and there. This may not happen until the attack on Vacuo actually begins, that when Salem arrives, Jill might pledge her loyalty to Salem. There was something kind of hinted at in Before the Dawn that with being the heir to the throne of Vacuo, it was all symbolized by a birthmark that was shared by Jax and Jill. And Coco seemed to point out that the birthmark that was on Jill's wrist, on her arm, was fake. It looked more like a brand than an actual birthmark, and Jill was very curious about this, looking at her arm, wondering if it actually was fake. And if it does turn out to be fake, maybe she won't have as much loyalty to the kingdom anymore. Maybe that's what this was hinting at, that she's going to, you know, break her ties to the throne or the heir of Vacuo and instead just turn against Vacuo entirely, not having any attachment to that, maybe hating the throne of Vacuo itself, maybe, I don't know what exactly it might turn into, but I definitely see that she might follow the line of going towards Salem, becoming one of Salem's inner circle, possibly becoming a maiden herself. I doubt that's going to be the case, but she might actually be the one to go and hunt the Summer Maiden if Salem does get Jill under her control, with Jill knowing Vacuo, especially the underground of Vacuo, Vacuo, knowing her way through the mines, possibly having other connections to shady organizations operating in Vacuo, etc. So Jill, I definitely see coming back in the future of RWBY, especially once we get to the Vacuo arc. Jax as well, if he wasn't completely turned into a potato by Yatsuhashi, because, you know, that's going to be something that needs to be explored. Before the Dawn cut off right at that point when Yatsuhashi did that to Jax, wiped his memory completely and made him go completely limp, etc. So that's something that's going to have to be explored. I have a feeling it was cut off so abruptly because there's more to explore after that. Possibly Gillian's explosive anger, possibly her resentment towards Vacuo, towards Yatsuhashi, towards Huntsman in general. She initially had the dream to become a huntsman, so it would be quite poetic if she turned on that dream and became a member of Salem's army fighting against the huntsman in general. Now, it is worth mentioning that if Jill did join Salem's faction, she would only be able to use her semblance of aura siphon on the other human and or faunus members of Salem's group. And possibly Salem herself, though she is part Grimm after falling into the black pools, and we don't even know if she has an aura considering she's a member of the first generation of humanity. But Jill's semblance of aura siphon, the way that it works is she's able to siphon aura from other people, temporarily make it part of her own, and also gift aura to other people, other faunus, etc. And it was specifically mentioned in Before the Dawn that she tried to use her ability on a Grimm, that she tried to gift aura to a Grimm to see what would happen. And it is described that the Grimm was essentially like a void. When Jill established a connection with it, it constantly started sucking the aura away from her, and if Jill didn't break the connection, then it would have siphoned all of her aura away from her. Jill does not have the ability to take someone's soul entirely, to actually siphon away someone's entire aura. Only a part of it that she can temporarily make part of her own, it will fade, and same with the aura that she gifts to others. It will fade as well. And the Grimm, after being gifted some aura by Jill, was just unchanged. It just swallowed up this aura, became part of the void, nothing else happened with that. So that obviously just states that Grimm cannot have aura added to them, but still, if Jill did join Salem, that wouldn't be part of her ability. Still, Jill would be an insane asset for Salem to have, and not to mention if Jill was part of Salem's faction or wanted to be part of Salem's faction, just to prove her loyalty to that, if Rumpole did tell her about the relics and the maidens and, you know, Salem in general, then Jill could just break out of prison, possibly if Umber Gorgonia, one of her loyal subjects in Before the Dawn, who was not mind-controlled, was able to, you know, paralyze one of the guards with her semblance of stone glance and then just break Jill out or something like that. Jill could go hunting for the Summer Maiden, which is likely in Vacuo currently. If she is able to capture the Summer Maiden, if she's able to siphon enough aura from people that she takes prisoner or something like that, if she's able to siphon enough aura from them, make herself strong enough, she could possibly take on a maiden. If she is able to take out the Summer Maiden, possibly make the Summer Maiden think of her in her final thoughts, become the Summer Maiden herself, it is kind of possible, and possibly try to go get the Relic of Destruction, or present herself to Salem either as the Summer Maiden or with the Summer Maiden being prisoner. So Jill has a lot of impact that she could have on the future of the RWBY storyline. It's possible that she might just be a character exclusive to Before the Dawn and we may never see her again, but I think the implications are definitely there that she's going to have some future in the RWBY series. But enough of my rambling. Let me know what you all think down in the comments below. Do you think that Jill will have some impact on the RWBY storyline as a whole? Do you think that Jax is going to have an impact as well? Not just as an influencer for Jill, being that Jax was turned into a potato by Yatsuhashi, possibly permanently, and that fuels Jill's anger and resentment towards the Kingdom of Vacuo, Huntsman in general, and Yatsuhashi specifically, driving her towards Salem, but that Jax might be able to recover in some sort of way, that Jill would try to go to Salem and try to use her magic potentially to recover Jax out of her undying love for her brother or something like that. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Are there any other events from Before the Dawn that you think might play an impact in the future of RWBY? A couple I definitely have come to mind, but I would love to know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, got you thinking more about the events that took place in Before the Dawn and the future implications that it may have for the RWBY series. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe, join the Guild of the Eternal Flame, tweet me at PhoenixKnight7, join our Discord server, link in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.